What would you do if your entire family abandoned you at 2 a.m. and the home you returned to wasn't yours anymore? Adana, a 22-year-old law student, arrives at Lagos International Airport at 2 a.m. after spending 2 years studying in South Africa. She's tired but happy, expecting to see her family soon, especially her sister Awel, who used to text her every day with love and excitement, counting down the days until she came home. But now, everything feels wrong. Her messages are not getting replies. She tries calling, but no one picks up. Her smile fades. Cold rain begins to fall outside the airport. She doesn't have a working SIM card, no Nigerian cash in her bag, and no one is here to welcome her. Everyone else is being picked up, hugs, laughter, cars driving away. But Adana stands alone. She starts to feel scared, confused, and slowly hurt. A kind airport worker notices her distress and lets her use a phone. She tries again, still no answer. Her hands shake a little. The silence on the other end of the call feels louder than anything. It's not just the rain soaking her clothes now. It's the heavy feeling that something is deeply wrong. She was so sure she was coming back to love, but this silence feels personal. It feels like a door closing in her face. The excitement in her chest is gone. All that's left is a quiet, growing pain. After waiting and hoping at the airport for hours, Adana finally gives up. No one came. No one called. She asks around and finds a cheap old public minibus heading toward her neighborhood. The ride is long, hot, and crowded, but she keeps quiet, holding tightly to her suitcase. Her eyes stay on the rainy windows as the city passes by. She tries not to cry. When the bus stops near her street, she gets out and walks in the wet night, pulling her bag behind her. The streets are empty, the sky still dark, and the only sound is the splash of her shoes in the puddles. She reaches the gate of her family's compound and is surprised. It's not locked. That's strange. It's always locked at night. She slowly pushes it open. It creaks, just like in old movies. Her chest feels tight now. She walks inside, dragging her suitcase behind her. The house is completely dark. No lights, no sounds, not even the barking of the neighbors' dogs. It feels cold, quiet, and empty, like nobody lives there anymore. She knocks gently on the front door. No answer. She knocks again, louder this time. Still nothing. Her hand trembles as she touches the doorknob. It isn't locked. She pushes it open slowly. The door makes a low creaking sound as it opens into a deep silence. Inside, everything feels wrong. Her footsteps echo through the hallway. The furniture is moved around. Nothing is where she remembers. The pictures on the walls are gone. The ones that showed family moments, smiles, birthdays, they've all vanished. The walls look bare. There's no smell of food, no sign of anyone. She walks deeper into the house, calling softly, "Mama, Awela." Still no response. Her heart beats faster. She enters her old bedroom and stops. The room is almost empty. Her posters are gone. Her books, clothes, everything that made it her space, gone. The bed is still there, but the bedsheets are different. The room feels cold, untouched, like someone had tried to erase her from the house, like she was never meant to come back. She stands frozen in the doorway, confused and scared. This is supposed to be home, but it feels like a stranger's house now, a place full of memories that were wiped clean. She runs her fingers over the desk she used to study at, dusty. She opens the wardrobe. Nothing inside but empty hangers. Something is deeply wrong. The silence is thick, almost heavy. There's a buzzing sound from a dying light bulb in the hallway, flickering weakly. Her skin crawls with unease. Her eyes scan everything around her, looking for something familiar, something that feels like love, but she finds nothing. The air itself feels like it's hiding secrets. She walks back into the living room and looks around. This is where she used to sit with her siblings, laugh, watch TV. Now it's like none of it ever happened. A sharp feeling of loneliness hits her chest. Where is everyone? Why does the house look like it's waiting for someone else? Not her. Adana slowly sinks into the edge of the old couch, suitcase still beside her, rain dripping from her clothes. No welcome, no warmth, just shadows and silence. The house isn't just empty. It feels like it rejected her, like she doesn't belong here anymore. And for the first time since arriving, a chilling thought slips into her mind. Maybe she was never really part of this home to begin with. Adana sits alone in the quiet, dark house. She's tired, confused, and her heart feels heavy. Nothing makes sense. Where is her family? Why does the house feel so different, like it no longer remembers her? She stands up slowly, wiping the rainwater from her face, and walks toward the hallway. thinking maybe someone is asleep in one of the rooms. As she moves quietly through the hallway, something near the door catches her eye. Slippers. Men's slippers. Not her father's. These are new, large, different. Her brows knit together. Who do they belong to? She moves closer, staring at the slippers. They don't feel like they belong here. Her father is very particular. He never left shoes lying around like something feels off. A faint light spills from under the door of one of the bedrooms, her mother's room. Slowly, carefully, Adana walks toward it, heart pounding harder with every step. The door is slightly open. Her fingers tremble as she gently pushes it a little further. She peers inside, only meaning to look, just to make sure her mother is okay. What she sees stops her breath. Lying in bed is her mother, fast asleep, but she's not alone. Next to her, under the same blanket, is a man, a stranger, someone Adana has never seen before. Not her father, not anyone she can remember. The room is quiet, and the light is soft, but the image is sharp, like a cut to the heart. She freezes in place, unable to move, unable to look away. Then, suddenly, the man opens his eyes. He sees her. For a moment the world stands still. Adana's heart jumps to her throat, but the man doesn't flinch. He doesn't panic. He doesn't even look ashamed. Instead, he just stares at her, calm, sharp, watching. His eyes don't say, sorry. They say something else, something colder, something more dangerous. He looks at her like he's already thinking, planning, calculating, like he knew this day might come. Adana quickly steps back, her feet almost tripping over each other as she moves away from the door. Her breath is shallow, her hands shake, her mind is spinning. What just happened? Who is that man? Why is her mother lying next to him like everything is normal? She hides in the hallway, pressing herself against the wall. Her heartbeat echoes in her ears. A sick feeling grows in her stomach. This wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a misunderstanding. This, whatever it is, has been going on for a while. Her mother didn't look surprised. That room looked lived in, comfortable, like someone had already taken her father's place. The air feels tighter now. Every sound in the house is louder. The buzzing of the old fridge, the creak of the wood floor beneath her feet, the distant rumble of thunder outside. Everything feels strange and heavy, like the house itself is holding its breath. Adana leans against the wall and slowly slides down to sit on the floor, staring into space. This isn't just a homecoming anymore. It's a discovery, a betrayal, a door that opened to reveal a truth she never wanted to know. And deep in her chest, the fear grows stronger. If this man is here, where is her father? The next morning, Adana wakes up on the old couch. Her neck hurts, her body feels heavy, and her mind is full of questions. She hears movement in the kitchen, soft footsteps, dishes clinking. She slowly walks in and sees her mother, dressed in a wrapper, calm as ever, acting like nothing happened. She turns around with a small smile and says, "Adana, you're back. You should have called. We didn't know when you'd arrive." Adana just stares at her. Her mother moves closer and gives her a light hug, cold, quick, without feeling. She smells like powder and soap, like she'd just cleaned up something messy. Adana pulls back and asks, "Why didn't you come to the airport? Why didn't Awel answer my messages?" Her mother sighs, fakes a soft laugh, and says, "There was confusion. I thought your flight was next week, and your sister lost her phone." Her voice is light, like she's telling a story she practiced many times. But Adana isn't buying it. Her hands ball into fists. Her voice tightens. "And who is that man? The one sleeping in your bed?" The air shifts. The smile drops from her mother's face. For a second, silence fills the kitchen. Then, with a cold voice and sharp eyes, her mother says, "You weren't supposed to come back this soon." That sentence hits Adana like a slap. Not, "I'm sorry." Not, "Let me explain." Just cold truth. Her heart sinks. Everything becomes clear. This wasn't a mix-up. This wasn't poor timing. They didn't forget about her. She was being erased, quietly pushed out of the picture, rewritten out of her own home story. Her return wasn't welcomed. It was a problem. Her mother turns back to the sink, as if the conversation is over. Adana stares at her. She sees something new now, not the caring woman who raised her, but someone distant, controlled, and secretive. Her mother's tone changes again, soft, almost sweet. "You must be tired. You'll feel better after some rest." It's like she's trying to reset the mood. gaslight the moment, like none of this ever happened. But Adana knows what she heard. She watches as her mother moves around the kitchen like a stranger. That warm, comforting presence she used to feel is gone. Now she feels like a guest, an outsider. Her mother starts talking about food, about errands, pretending everything is fine, but the words don't matter anymore. Adana's heart is now full of confusion, anger, and hurt. She realizes she's not dealing with simple lies. This is something deeper, a game of silence and smiles. Her mother has two faces, one for the world and one for the truth. And Adana is just now seeing the one that hides in the shadows. She steps back, keeping her eyes on her mother, who never looks back at her. Everything is different now. The home she thought she was returning to never really existed. The box was dusty and almost invisible, shoved deep in the corner of the old wardrobe. It didn't look important at first, just some old shoes and books, but something about it pulled her closer. Inside, beneath a stack of childhood storybooks and faded birthday cards, was a torn brown envelope. The writing on it was nearly gone, but her name, faint and shaky, was still there. Fingers trembling, she opened it. The paper inside was folded too many times, like someone had tried to forget it existed. It wasn't a letter. It wasn't a school document. It was legal, a guardianship form. Her eyes scanned the page, trying to make sense of it. One sentence stood out like a scream. She had never been adopted. Her father was not her biological parent. Everything she believed about her family was suddenly not true. It hit like a punch to the chest. All the strange moments from the past came rushing back. The way he always called her that girl when he was angry. The way he sat silently during school plays while her siblings got hugs and praise. The hushed arguments at night behind closed doors. Her mother telling her to stop asking questions. Little things she had pushed aside now felt loud and sharp. They weren't little. They were signs. The man she had seen in her mother's bed wasn't just a visitor. He was now the new husband, maybe for a long time. No one had bothered to tell her. Maybe they hoped she'd never come back. A cold, strange calm spread through her, the kind that comes when there's nothing left to lose. Her past wasn't what she thought it was. Her home wasn't hers anymore, and her identity, her place in the family, was a secret kept from her since the beginning. She left the house quietly, walking fast through the back streets, like a shadow. Her phone was still useless, but she remembered the way to Aunt Kem's. It had been years, but the path was still clear in her mind, just like the warnings. Stay away from her, her mother had always said. She brings nothing but trouble. But now, after everything, that voice no longer mattered. She needed the truth, and something deep inside told her Kemi might be the only one who'd give it to her. Kemi lived in a small flat at the edge of the neighborhood, far from the big family house. Her door was old and peeling, but the place smelled of fresh herbs and warmth. When she opened the door and saw who was standing there, she froze. Her eyes widened, not with anger or fear, but surprise. Then slowly, she smiled and said, "Adana?" There was a long pause before she stepped aside. "Come in, my child." They sat on worn chairs in a small kitchen. The kettle whistled softly in the background as Kemi poured hot tea into chipped cups. For a while, neither of them spoke. The silence wasn't heavy. It was careful, like both were afraid to break it too fast. Finally, Adana asked, "Who am I really?" Kemi looked into her eyes, took a deep breath, and began. Her voice was slow, thoughtful. She spoke of long years, of family fights, and secrets pushed into dark corners. She explained how Adana's father had once loved another woman, how that brief affair had brought Adana into the world, and how her mother, furious, ashamed, had agreed to raise the baby only to protect the family's name, not out of love, out of pressure. The words cut deep, but then came the sharpest slice of all. "Your father passed away," Kemi said gently, "some months ago." Everything inside her broke. He was gone. The one man she thought she could still ask questions to, the one who might have explained the missing pieces, was gone. And no one had told her. No phone call, no message, not even a small note. They had buried her truth with him, like she didn't matter. Her hands shook. The tea went cold. Her tears came in silence, sliding down her cheeks as Kemi reached out and held her hand. There was no loud comfort, no lies to soften the pain, just real, quiet sadness. Kemi wiped her tears and told her more, how her father had always wanted to reach out, but was stopped, how he had tried to keep her close in his own quiet ways, even when pushed aside, how he had always cared, even if he couldn't show it properly. For the first time in days, Adana felt seen. She wasn't just some mistake. She wasn't just someone to be hidden. She was someone's daughter, a real one. And now, with every truth pouring out, she finally understood the depth of the betrayal. It wasn't just about lies. It was about love withheld, stolen years, and the quiet cruelty of silence. She moved quietly through the narrow path of the village cemetery, following behind her aunt. They didn't walk toward the clean, decorated graves with names and flowers. Instead, they kept going, past them, into a part of the land that looked forgotten. There, behind a low wall and thick bushes, was a lonely patch of ground. No tombstone, no sign, just a small, raised spot in the soil. Her aunt stopped. "This is it," she said. Adana looked down. This was where they had buried him, her real father. No one had told her. No family gathering. No final goodbye. No last words. He had died quietly, and they had buried him even more quietly, like he had never existed, like he was someone to be erased. She didn't speak. She just stood there, trying to feel something. Her chest was tight, but her mind was full. All the questions she never got to ask him, all the things he could have said. The silence was louder than anything, but her aunt had come prepared. She had brought a stool, a candle, and 2 people. A man who once worked with her father, and an older woman who remembered when Adana was just a baby. It wasn't a big funeral, but it was honest. They sat together in front of the grave. Her aunt lit the candle and whispered a short prayer. The man shared a quiet story about how her father used to sing to himself while painting. The woman said he had kind eyes and always greeted people with respect. Little things. But to Adana, they meant everything. For the first time, she was hearing about the man behind the silence. When it was her turn, she didn't prepare a speech. She just spoke from her heart. She said she wished she had known him better. She wished she had been told the truth sooner. She said she wasn't angry at him, only sad they lost so much time. Her voice didn't shake. It stayed calm, strong, even as the tears came. Before leaving, she bent down and placed a flat stone at the spot, marking it in her own quiet way. Then she took a red string from her wrist and tied it to a nearby stick. Something small but meaningful. Her way of saying, "I was here. You mattered to me." As they walked away, something inside her felt steady. She wasn't just mourning him, she was honoring him. And in doing that, she was slowly rebuilding herself. She knew now that she had strength, even in pain, even in loss. She didn't feel small anymore. She felt clear, like she had taken back something they tried to hide from her. Not just her father's memory, but her own voice. And she was ready to use it. She walked into the house with calm steps, but her heart was full of fire. No more questions, no more confusion. This time, she had the truth. The dining table was set. Everyone sat quietly. Her mother, the man in her father's place, and her younger siblings. The food was untouched. The air felt heavy, like everyone was waiting for something to break. She didn't sit. She placed a folder on the table and slowly opened it. One by one, she laid out everything. Copies of documents showing she was never adopted, pictures of her real father, and voice notes from Aunt Kem telling the full story. She didn't raise her voice, but her words cut deep. She looked straight at her mother and said, "You're a coward. You tried to erase me. You tried to rewrite my life like I was never supposed to exist." Her mother stayed silent, face cold, trying to act like she still had control. But this time, the mask didn't work. Then she turned to the man sitting next to her mother. "You," she said, "you're not a father. You're just a shadow, hiding in another man's home trying to wear his shoes." He looked away, embarrassed, but didn't speak. Her siblings stared at the table. No one touched their food. Her little brother looked confused. Her sister Awela had tears in her eyes. Finally, Awela broke the silence. "They told me to stop calling you," she said, her voice shaking. "They said you didn't belong to us anymore. I didn't know what to do." That was the moment everything cracked open. The truth wasn't a secret anymore. It was out, lying on the table for everyone to see. Some looked guilty, some looked scared, but no one could deny what was in front of them. Adana stood tall, not looking for hugs or apologies. She didn't want fake comfort. She wanted truth, and now she had it. Just before she was about to leave the house for good, her aunt handed her a small package, carefully wrapped and sealed. "He left this for you," she said gently. Adana took it slowly, hands trembling a little. She didn't know what to expect. but something in her chest felt tight again. This time, not from pain, but from something deeper. When she opened the package, the first thing she saw was a key, old, a bit rusty. Taped to it was a folded letter, yellowed at the edges. She opened the letter and began to read. It was from her real father. His handwriting was rough, but full of warmth. He wrote that he had always loved her, even when he wasn't allowed to show it. He wrote that he had created a space just for her, a place where he kept every memory, every thought, every piece of love he had never been allowed to give her out loud. The key, he said, opened the shed behind the house. She hadn't gone near that shed in years. It was always locked, always ignored like it didn't matter. But now, with shaky hands, she walked to the backyard and pushed the key into the old lock. It clicked. Inside, the air smelled old, but the room was full of colour. Paintings leaned against the walls, portraits of her as a little girl. In one, she was laughing, holding a balloon. In another, she was sitting on a swing, smiling up at the sky. Tears filled her eyes. He had been watching, remembering, loving her quietly, even when she thought he was far away. On a table, she found a small stack of cards, all birthday cards with her name on them. None had ever been given to her. She touched each one, reading the simple notes. "I'm proud of you. You're my star. Happy birthday, my daughter." They were short, but full of love. Then she saw a thick journal. It was filled with letters to her. Page after page, he wrote about his thoughts, his regrets, and how much he wanted to be in her life. He wrote about how he didn't know how to fight her mother, how he thought staying quiet would protect her. He didn't always make the right choices, but he had never stopped loving her. She sat down on the floor, holding the journal close. For the first time, the missing pieces began to fit. She was not forgotten. She was not unloved. She was hidden, yes, but never abandoned. That moment changed something inside her. She realized love had always been there, even if it was kept in the dark. And now, she had it all in her hands. Not just a memory, but a part of herself that had been lost and was now found. The bus was quiet, moving smoothly along the road. She sat by the window, her eyes watching the world pass by, but her mind was calm for the first time in a long while. Around her neck hung a simple necklace. It used to belong to her real father. Now it felt like a small piece of him was going with her, like he was still by her side in spirit. Her bag rested on her lap, filled with documents, her journal, and her hopes for a new start. She wasn't running away. She was moving forward to Abuja, where her internship at a human rights firm was waiting, a place where she could speak up for people like her, those forgotten, those silenced, those made to feel invisible. Her phone buzzed softly. She looked down. It was a message from Awol. "I'm sorry. I miss you." For a moment, her fingers hovered over the screen, but then she stopped. She smiled, gently to herself. She didn't reply. Some wounds still needed time. Some people needed to learn how to reach out without being told. A soft voice began to play in her mind. It was her father's words from the journal. "Blood doesn't make a home. Truth does." As the bus moved forward, so did she. She wasn't broken anymore. She had survived betrayal, lies, and silence. Now, she had truth, and with truth, she had power. The camera slowly pulled back, her face calm, the necklace shining faintly under her shirt, her eyes fixed ahead, not looking back. Fade out. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories like this. Drop a comment below. What part hit you the most? And don't miss the videos on the end screen for more deep, emotional journeys. Thanks for watching.